He appeared to have it all: wealth beyond imagination, a luxurious lifestyle in the heart of Manhattan, and a reputation untouchable by the law. But behind the polished suits and lavish parties lay a secret so sinister that no one, not his employees, not his family, not even law enforcement, suspected its existence. How could a man celebrated in headlines for his philanthropy be hiding a private prison beneath his mansion? This is the story that would shock a nation, reveal the dark corners of power, and expose the chilling extremes of human obsession. Disclaimer: content is for awareness and educational purposes only. Viewer discretion advised. In 2019, Jonathan Carlisle, a tech billionaire from New York City, became the subject of whispers in high society. Rumors swirled about odd disappearances of staff, peculiar construction in his massive estate in Westchester, and reports of strange, heavily secured underground chambers. His neighbors dismissed the sounds and lights from beneath his property as construction for a wine cellar or luxury bunker. But the truth was far more disturbing. This episode unfolds how Jonathan's secret prison operated for months, who fell victim to his control, and the eventual investigation that brought his empire crashing down. The story dives deep into the lives of employees, contractors, and a whistleblower whose courage exposed the dark underbelly of a man trusted by millions. It explores the psychological manipulation, the hidden passageways, the surveillance measures, and the criminal mastermind behind an unimaginable private incarceration. Layered with suspense, investigative insights, and first-hand accounts, this is a story that will keep you glued to your screen. As you watch, you'll be forced to question: how much power is too much? Can absolute wealth shield absolute evil? And just when you think the truth has surfaced, new revelations about hidden victims and corrupted accomplices emerge, leaving the audience questioning the very fabric of justice in the modern era. The consequences of Jonathan Carlisle's actions ripple far beyond his mansion, affecting families, employees, and the justice system itself. Will Jonathan escape legal punishment through his wealth and influence? Who are the victims hidden from public eye, and how did they endure months of captivity and terror? This story unfolds as a chilling reminder that evil can sometimes wear the mask of respectability and power. If this story has gripped you so far, comment "exposed," share with those who need to see the truth, subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc, and turn on the notification bell for more shocking, real-life crime stories. Curiosity mounts, suspense deepens, and the darkest secrets are revealed. Are you ready to see what lies beneath the billionaire's facade? As the sun set over Westchester, Jonathan Carlisle's mansion transformed from a gleaming symbol of wealth into a fortress of secrets. Beneath the sprawling lawns and manicured gardens, a labyrinth of concrete corridors stretched into the darkness, rooms designed not for comfort, but for containment. Hidden behind false walls, reinforced steel doors, and biometric locks, these chambers held the unimaginable. Employees and acquaintances who had mysteriously disappeared, trapped in a world that even law enforcement had no idea existed. It all began subtly. Contractors noticed unusual architectural plans in late 2018, blueprints labeled as utility expansion or wine cellar, but with strange additions: tunnels, small rooms, and observation posts. Some questioned it, some ignored it, but none truly imagined the sinister purpose. Then came the accounts from former staff: anonymous messages, emails, and calls revealing strange schedules, employees disappearing overnight, and Carlisle's obsessive insistence on absolute control over every corner of his estate. Inside, the conditions were horrific. Victims described rooms with minimal lighting, sparse bedding, and constant surveillance. Cameras monitored every movement. Any attempt to communicate with the outside world was swiftly intercepted. Some victims were forbidden from speaking, others forced into psychological games designed to break their spirit. Carlisle reportedly used intimidation, threats, and manipulation, preying on fear and exploiting his victims' trust. Each day, the line between reality and nightmare blurred. A whistleblower, a former personal assistant named Melissa, risked everything to reveal the truth. She recounted how Jonathan meticulously recorded everything, creating a digital archive of movements, conversations, and compliance. It was like living in a glass cage, she revealed. He wanted to know everything we did, even our thoughts. If he suspected you were planning to leave or report him, the consequences were terrifying. Her courage led investigators to finally examine Carlisle's estate in early 2020, uncovering tunnels, holding cells, and an intricate network designed for surveillance and control. The investigation itself became a psychological thriller. Authorities had to navigate a maze of traps and high-tech security systems. Each discovery raised new questions. How many had been imprisoned? How long had Carlisle maintained this secret? What drove a man of influence to wield power in such a cruel and hidden manner? Court records later revealed victims who had been isolated for weeks at a time, subjected to manipulation that blurred morality and survival instincts. Yet the deeper they dug, the more horrifying the reality became. Some chambers held evidence of financial exploitation, others hinted at darker, more personal obsessions. Carlisle's wealth had allowed him to evade suspicion for years, crafting a life where his public generosity concealed private atrocities. Questions began to surface among investigators and the public alike. How did someone so visible escape scrutiny for so long? Was this an isolated case or a symptom of unchecked privilege in high society? As authorities pieced together the extent of Carlisle's operations, the tension escalated. Neighbors who once admired his philanthropic image were left horrified. Families of missing employees demanded answers. Every revelation pulled the public deeper into a chilling reality. Evil can thrive in plain sight, hidden behind wealth, charm, and influence. But the story doesn't end there. Hidden in the remaining corridors of his mansion were secrets that even investigators were unprepared for. Clues that suggested Carlisle had been planning his next move, even as the walls of his empire began to close in. How far would he go to maintain control, and who else might be trapped in the shadows? If this story has gripped you so far, comment exposed, share it with those who need to hear the truth, subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc, and turn on the notification bell for more chilling true crime revelations. The nightmare beneath Carlisle's mansion is only beginning to unfold. By the time the investigation reached its third month, the depth of Jonathan Carlisle's deception was staggering. What had started as reports of unusual basement construction now revealed a sprawling empire of secrecy. Every interview with former staff, contractors, and neighbors painted a portrait of a man who wielded influence like a weapon, his charm in public and cruelty in private, creating a dual reality that left victims terrified and the public aghast. Inside the mansion, the conditions of the secret prison were even more disturbing than initially imagined. Rooms that appeared mundane from the outside were revealed to be reinforced holding cells, each outfitted with cameras, audio sensors, and locked doors controlled remotely. Witnesses described the chilling sensation of being watched constantly, of hearing doors lock behind them with no explanation, of being moved between chambers without warning. Carlisle's obsession with control wasn't just psychological, it was logistical, calculated, and relentless. Victims spoke of manipulation that went far beyond fear. Carlisle exploited relationships, sowing distrust among staff, pitting people against one another, and monitoring even their private communications. Some were forced to participate in orchestrated acts designed to confuse them, eroding their sense of reality. "You didn't know what was real anymore," one victim confessed. Every friendly gesture, every act of kindness, everything had an ulterior motive. The mansion became a maze of both physical and mental imprisonment, leaving survivors with lasting trauma. Meanwhile, Carlisle maintained a public image of a philanthropic billionaire. Charities, gala events, and high-profile donations masked the horrors behind the reinforced walls of his estate. This duality made the case particularly challenging for law enforcement. For years, suspicion had been misdirected, investigations had stalled, and the victims' voices had been dismissed. The contrast between the public hero and the private villain amplified the chilling nature of the story. Evil can hide behind the mask of generosity. Court documents revealed further complexity. Evidence suggested that Carlisle had not only imprisoned people physically, but had also leveraged financial blackmail. Promises of wealth and advancement were used to trap some victims, while threats of ruin and exposure kept others compliant. Some employees had signed contracts under duress, unknowingly legitimizing Carlisle's manipulations. Investigators realized that what they were uncovering was a sophisticated system of power and coercion, a criminal empire disguised as legitimate business and philanthropy. The psychological toll on victims was immense. Many struggled to articulate the experience, often minimizing the severity due to shame, confusion, or fear of disbelief. Yet their testimonies became crucial in unraveling the network. As more victims came forward, investigators began mapping the patterns of imprisonment, surveillance, and exploitation, slowly revealing the full extent of Carlisle's control. Each revelation raised urgent questions. How many more chambers were undiscovered? How long had this network operated unnoticed? And perhaps most frighteningly, what else was Carlisle capable of once cornered? Even as authorities secured evidence, Carlisle's cunning was apparent. Security logs indicated attempts to erase digital trails, move assets, and intimidate those closest to the investigation. It became clear that capturing him physically was only the beginning. The legal and psychological battles ahead would test the justice system and the victims' resilience. With tension mounting and the full scale of the operation slowly coming to light, the story reached a critical juncture. Would Carlisle face justice, or would his manipulations continue behind closed doors? The public watched in disbelief, struggling to reconcile the image of a billionaire philanthropist with the reality of a secret prison mastermind. If this story has gripped you so far, comment exposed, share it with those who need to hear the truth, subscribe to Crime Chronicles TVc, and turn on the notification bell for more chilling true crime revelations. The darkness inside Carlisle's empire is only beginning to unravel. The day Jonathan Carlisle's world finally began to collapse was unlike any other. Law enforcement, armed with months of painstaking investigation, executed a coordinated raid on his mansion. From the outside, it appeared as any other high-profile media-covered estate, but inside, officers encountered a labyrinth of horror that shocked even the most seasoned detectives. Hidden doors, reinforced chambers, and intricate security systems had been designed to delay discovery. Yet, each locked door revealed more victims, more suffering, and more evidence of Carlisle's calculated cruelty. As officers freed the prisoners, the psychological scars became evident. Some victims were barely able to comprehend the outside world, their sense of time and reality fractured by months or even years of confinement and manipulation. Experts on the scene described the conditions as psychologically torturous. Isolated chambers, constant surveillance, forced participation in manipulative scenarios, and threats of exposure had left deep emotional wounds. For them, the ordeal was not just physical imprisonment, but an extended captivity of the mind and spirit. Carlisle, confronted by authorities, displayed the same icy composure that had allowed him to hide in plain sight for so long. Yet behind the confident facade, cracks began to show. Investigators described the scene, a man attempting to negotiate, to manipulate, to maintain control, even as his empire crumbled. But every attempt at deception failed. The meticulous evidence collected, the digital logs, the testimonies, the contracts signed under duress, formed an unbreakable case. Carlisle's charisma, once his greatest tool, now offered him no protection. The media erupted as the news broke. Headlines around the world depicted the shocking duality, a billionaire philanthropist secretly running a prison of torment. Public outrage surged, debates about wealth, power, and accountability filled forums, and the victims' courage in coming forward became a rallying point. Many noted the chilling truth. The more powerful the facade, the harder it is to see the darkness it hides. Carlisle's story served as a stark reminder that evil can wear any mask, even the most respected. Trials and legal proceedings followed, with prosecutors emphasizing the meticulous planning, the psychological and physical abuse, and the abuse of power. Survivors took the stand, their voices shaking yet resolute, detailing the horrors endured, and calling for justice not just for themselves, but for anyone who might fall victim to such deception.